So in this video, I wanted to give you some clarity about what Madlanga Commission Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga said in regards to this medical certificate. So as you've heard from the clip we just listened to, there's been a lot of concerning things that have raised some eyebrow to me about these medical certificates that are issued to people to avoid testifying, people who have been summoned to testify at Matanga Commission of Inquiry. And here we need to understand that a commission of inquiry operates very differently from an employer. Okay. And the standards for excusing a summoned witness are very high. Those standards are very high standard. So a commission summons is not the same as the sick leave from your employer. When a person is summoned by a commission of inquiry, the summons has legal force similar to a court subpoena. All right. So in South Africa, under the Commissions Act 8 of 1947, failure to appear without sufficient cause can amount to an offense. Therefore, Commission Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga must determine whether the person is medically incapable of attending, whether the incapacity is temporary or prolonged, whether alternative arrangements such as remote testimony are possible. So, a vague certificate stating medical condition does not allow the commission to make the determination. This is likely why Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga called the certificate that was presented to him as useless.
Looks like I'm going to give you an opportunity to say something, Mr. Mogotsi, but let me right away say that it looks like we've reached a stage where we are getting quite a few of these medical certificates, and this is quite bothersome. It impacts negatively on the Commission's scheduling, because once we do not have a witness, and we usually get to know of that on the day, we lose time because we do not sit on that day, and it gets worse if a witness has been scheduled for more than just one day. And that witness then has to be scheduled at a later date, affecting scheduling that had already been done. This is truly, truly bothersome, and the Commission has very limited time to do its investigation, do and finalize its investigation. And the medical certificates we get basically say nothing. Yours, Mr. Mogotsi, says medical condition. That is what the last one before yours also said, and we had to insist on getting another medical certificate, which then stated what the real condition was. Just saying medical condition, that's useless. Useless. It doesn't assist us. And
The essential elements in legal context, the certificates that you're going to issue to a commission, in a legal context, quite different. It must have some essential elements expected in legal context. All right. The date of examination, a date and time of the person when a person was examined. And that is actually applied to all certificate anyway, including the sixth certificate, right, that you issued for employers' purpose. The certificate should state when the patient was examined and the time, possibly the time, whether the doctor personally assessed the patient. And we saw that one from the witness F that said the patient told me he is sick. Yeah, the medical certificate said that. The patient told me he's sick. And that was it. So it actually needs to say that the doctor examined the person on this date at this time, approximately this time, and found that person to be medically unfit to attend proceeding. And what also was alarming to this certificate to me was that they all said not fit to attend work. It was like, this is not work. Many of these people are being suspended, they're not attending work. They need to show up at Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And if they were at work, the work needs to release them because it's a legal proceeding. So why do you mean work? Which work? So suggesting to me there is some, yeah, either the person did not disclose to the doctor that they're going to these proceedings, or yeah, the certificate is not a proper one. It's not written by a qualified doctor. So there's something about this certificate that also worried me. The first one, witness F certificate, that it was written that they read, like, it actually did not actually was not sufficient. Did not meet the standard, the minimum standard required to write a medical certificate.
Application for postponement. The medical certificate on the last page of that application, Annexure I2, records that witness F will not be available at least until 25th February. We have looked at our calendar, and the earliest available date that we have after 25th February would be 16th March. Now, as things stand, 16th March is the last day of the commission, but it is the best that we can do at this stage. So we would ask for the appearance of witness F. Well, witness F is asking for a postponement, an open-ended postponement. We would ask for that postponement to be pegged to 16 March.
Thank you, Mr. Chaskelson. Mr. Mato, do you wish to say anything? Are you agreeable to a postponement to the 16th?
Indeed, Commissioner, we are, given the circumstances that's been alluded by my learned colleague.
Thank you.
Did not show up and say the patient said is sick. That one, it raised red flag for me, because a legitimate medical certificate should really clearly indicate that the health professional, the doctor or nurse or person who is authorized to issue such medical certificate, that they have independently, clinically given their opinion, their independent clinical opinion based on the scope of practice, that indeed this person is unwell. They're certifying that the person is unwell. But a medical certificate that says the patient states is sick, that's not appropriate. That doesn't mean that it doesn't meet the standard. Okay, it will not meet any healthcare regulator standard, APRA or neither APRA nor neither the Health Professional Council of South Africa. It will not meet that standard. So the medical certificate, it should really say, in my professional opinion, so you should say, in my professional opinion, that patient is medically unfit to attend the commission on the specified date. This distinction is crucial. My thing, this is such a, it's the same as saying medical sick. No, it's actually gives a lot of weight, because it says to the commissioner that the doctor or the health professional certified incapacity. Whoever issuing health professional is certifying the incapacity for a person's attendance to this commission of inquiry. And so like I said, there is context is matters here. This is a commission of inquiry and versus work. So the certificates are written for employment purpose. They typically say, unfit for work from X to Y, But when someone needs to appear before a commission, That certificate requires a different assessment. So a doctor is still be the same, qualifying the same. The doctor will still do other stuff, the same thing you would do to anyone, but there is a different assessment that the doctor must write. And that is, can the person must ask some question. Can the person sit and testify? Can they travel to the venue? Can they testify remotely? A person might be unfit for work but still able to testify. Not explicitly say that these people were meant to go and testify. They were all referring to work. So this was a problem, and this to me, that's a problem. That also I was a bit concerned about the legitimacy of this medical certificate. Okay, so another thing that we expect from a medical certificate is the duration of incapacity. The certificate should indicate how long the person is unfit, whether or not a review is required as well. Now, the patient, for example, the patient is medically unfit to attend proceedings for 5 days, and the patient would be able to return to the proceeding from this date and onwards. All right. Without a time frame, the commission cannot determine when to reschedule this testimony. All right.
We are, even on this aspect as well, seriously considering doing that. We are not going to sit here and continue receiving useless medical certificates like the last one was and like yours appears to be. Having said that, let me hear you, Mr. Mogotsi. And unfortunately, anyway, whatever we make of this medical certificate, we cannot hear your testimony today. And that is because we have another witness scheduled for today. Do you want to say anything? Do you want to comment on your own medical certificate, which I say is useless because all it says is medical condition? What on earth is that?
Had with people commenting that, oh, the doctor, why Madlanga Commission wants saying a person has a medical condition is useless. This Madlanga Commission wants to disclose people's medical records. The answer to that is that no, big no. Madlanga Commission, Justice Madlanga knows that medical records are protected information. They are subject to POPIA in South Africa, Privacy Act in Australia. So you cannot just disclose kind of open forum. And so we know that under the health law and HPCSA guidelines, doctors should not disclose diagnosis without permission. However, there is a middle ground. There's a middle ground. So the middle ground is the doctor can state that due to medical condition, the patient is medical unfit to attend proceedings. All right. They should also confirm that the patient was examined, that in their opinion, professional opinion, and within their scope of practice on clinical assessment, they've certified that the person is medically unfit. So you see that the certificate does not need to disclose the disease, but it must still provide sufficient medical justification, which this certificate, when you read them, they do not provide medical justification. Some of them, they don't even say when the person was examined. They don't even state the date the person was examined, because medical certificate cannot be backdated. All right, you cannot say that person did not. You could say that the person state was unwell, that came and see you on the day that the disease started on this day before they saw the doctor, but you cannot backdate and say on that day, the day before you see the person was unwell. That's not allowed. So we know that courts and also commissions, they usually reject the vague certificates. Um, the certificates that are generic, that they just print out and just sign, that they lack examination details, the date the person was examined. They rely solely on a patient report. Like we've read the other one that relies on the patient's report, not on the authority of the practitioner, what the certification of the practitioner. They do not state medical opinion. All right, they do not state medical. They are often called courtesy certificate. These are courtesy certificates. Courts often and commission, they reject these ones. They're not appropriate. That's, like I said, why? They were all referring to the person unfit to work. What for? The person not going to work. The person is summoned to go and testify at Madlanga Commission of Inquiries. So the commissions is right to guard against these courtesy certificates, because like we have witnessed, they now have derailed the proceedings because they delayed the proceedings, and the proceeding has 6 months. It's a 6 months time frame for Madlanga Commission of Inquiry to sit. So 6 months, yeah, with a lot of them doing this stuff, I think by now, I think they should be requesting an extension. There's a lot of stuff going on at Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that have arose during these proceedings. They need to request for extension, and it delayed the proceeding, this stuff, when people do this. And it also, they know some witness do this to avoid testifying, and they also, some of them do this to obstruct the investigations. Some of it, there are some that are deliberately obstructing investigation. Even Sibiya's last testimony was deliberately, in the way that he claimed to be sick once a specific question was asked. And we saw the witness F was the same. Witness F, when he came to stuff about Sibiya that was relevant, was going to nail him, he also said, he could not. And his lawyer also helped him and said, "Oh no, I didn't eat the whole day, but they had a lunch break." If you had a lunch break, if you said this morning we're in a hurry, couldn't eat, but you had a lunch break, couldn't you go and order Uber and get Uber Eats, drop some food at the commission, or go just walk around in Pretoria and going to the restaurant and eat, and come back to the commission? So why would you say that you're not eating food being used to stop the commission from proceeding? That was obstructive.
Sengwato, you indicated that you wanted to say something before we resume.
Oh, thanks, Commissioner. Now, this morning I indicated that I left my house at 6, and I left my office around 2 o'clock also this morning. So the last time I had something to eat was yesterday. And since being here since this morning, the entire day, I haven't had anything to eat. I tried to drink a bottle of water. I could feel the water as it runs through my body, and I was now feeling dizzy because I haven't had anything to eat since yesterday. I tried to soldier on, but at this level, at this stage, I'm losing concentration as well because I haven't had anything to eat since midday yesterday. Because when I get home at 2, I can't eat at that time. Really no wrong time to eat. Can't get my body through to that. And I had to leave in a hurry this morning. And for my unfortunate situation, I was late by 8 minutes and got chastised. So I was afraid to be late on any of this. So I haven't even left the yard since this morning.
Do you wish to respond, Mr. Shaskas?
No, Chair. I mean, Mr. Mwato needs an early adjournment. I think from our side, we'd want the Commission to accommodate him. Maybe we can make up the time tomorrow.
I found that behavior was obstructive. So this type of things, it's pretty much known in legal proceedings that there are people who do this. So yeah, so the reason why really Justice Madlanga likely to respond so strongly, use that strong language, is that they look useless. if the certificates only say medical condition without examination confirmation, without incapacity explanation, without a time frame, medical opinion, then the commission has no evidential basis to excuse the witness. From a legal perspective, such a document is not proof of incapacity. It becomes effectively a note written on request. There are guidelines that doctors and all healthcare professionals that have authority to issue the medical certificate that must comply with. These guidelines is that they must always be based on professional examination, indicate the date of consultation, state whether the doctor examined the patient, and also provide the doctor's professional opinion or the health professional who issued that medical certificate, because pharmacists can, and other the nurses, also nurses practitioner can also issue medical certificate, but they also need to be able to state a professional opinion based on the scope of practice. So, for example, some professions like nursing, they're restricted in what condition they can offer medical certificate on, because it still has to be within the scope of that health professionals as practice to issue such a medical certificate. Doctors can has a leeway, they can issue medical certificates, not much restriction there, but yeah, they must also include the person's name, their details, and identifying of the patient, and also themselves, and the practice number and the registration details in it. But a lot of them were either written ineligible, that the commissioner could not read what was written. So yeah, so it's very important that these doctors that issues these medical certificates, they comply with these standards, these guideline standards, because if they're not, they can face a misconduct, professional misconduct. Okay. And also, Health Professional Council of South Africa also have said this, that doctors may not issue certificates based solely on what the patient tells them. Because we know, patient tells you got to examine them, you got to form your medical expertise, your opinion, your professional opinion based on what you were told, what you examine, what you check, and all of the stuff, and certify yourself that this person is indeed sick. Because in a legal situation like this, these records, the medical records are legal documents. They can be subpoenaed. All right, it can be subpoenaed, and you would need to subpoena, and then you'd have to provide them on request when it's required, legally requested by the court. So, commission operates like a court. This commission, so it's not something that you're taking like you're providing a generic letter to an employer. It's gotta be really issued with that understanding. This is it's higher standards that you need to provide, and think about these questions about whether or not a person is sick enough not to attend. Can the commission organize this to be done remotely? And based on your examination, and in that circumstance, the doctor doesn't even to release any information about the diagnosis because it's confidential. So the confidentiality of the diagnosis is still maintained. All right. So yeah, and the courtesy certificate problems are a big problem in South Africa. Anyway, we know about that. That they have become a big issues that the regulator needs to start observing these and really issue a very severe penalty against these courtesy certificates. Okay. Yeah. So I hope I have explained for you guys why these certificates do not meet the required standards, the way they've been issued. And I've also explained to you that in all of this explanation, no medical certificate, no medical diagnosis has been disclosed, but it needs to meet certain basic legal standards. We're talking about the commission here, we need to provide a little bit more around helping the commission to make those assessments about what to do. And so, yeah, so it's quite important. And also, these people can now be subpoenaed. So, We had that the Madlanga Commission asked Brown Mogotsi. They have asked Brown Mogotsi actually that, "Hey, do you give us consent to request you may just check your medical certificate from your doctor?" And Brown Mogotsi said yes. Hopefully, he will then sign the documents to release those information, and then the doctor will receive the consent form. And the doctor will still need to get a consent form from Mogotsi as well to say Mogotsi agreed, and bring Mogotsi sign that yes, they agree for these documents to be released as well. We'll still have to do that. And then they have to release the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry will then ask an independent doctor to assess them whether or not they justify delaying an inquiry as important as Madlanga Commission of Inquiry investigating criminal infiltration into law enforcement. That's a very important inquiry. So
Thank you, Commissioners. I really have to apologize and reiterate, Commissioners, I have been very consistent throughout the preparations all the time before the Commission. And coming back from Cape Town since Friday, I was not okay. Like you say, confidentiality of the illness, but mine, I just had a lot of pressure, more like a diarrhea. I was so sick. I'm still not well. But I thought, because if for the Commission's information, throughout the engagement, it is me who suggested that day to the evidence leader. So I really apologize, but indeed I was very ill and very dizzy also. And I even insisted with the doctor that I so wish he can get me some medication so that by Wednesday, Thursday, I could be ready to come here. And it will never happen again.
Even though the answer to what I'm going to put to you does not really lie with you, but I will ask you this. Do you have any problems if we refer your medical certificate to the council that governs the medical profession?
No, I do not have
no problem at all
yes,
with that.
I mean, I believe that their interaction with the medical doctor will be kind of confidential and be submitted, then there's no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If it's not written down, it has not been completed. So it has to be written in a manner that shows professionalism, expertise, and with authority. And the audience meaning the legal commission of inquiry. So, nutshell, I do agree with Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that these documents, these medical certificates, they do not meet the basic minimum standard of professionalism, of healthcare standard. They do not meet the standard of professional registration. All right, they need to be written better. They need to be improved. I'm not going to use they're useless. Of course, for Madlanga Commission, it's right to say they're useless. They're not helping him. But I think my assessment, my opinion is that they are written, they do not meet the professional standard. These medical certificates, if what we're told by commission, that how they've been written, they do not meet the minimum professional standards. They are courtesy certificates written on request. They look like they're written on request. Therefore, they need to be investigated. They need to be investigated because they're really an example of very good medical certificate. It needs to say, I, Dr. So and so, or registered medical profession, registered pharmacist, or registered nurses practitioner within the APRA or Health Professional Council of South Africa, practice number, registration number, certify the following. You need to say, certify the following, that I personally examined Mr. So and so on this date at this time based on my clinical assessment. the patient is currently suffering from a medical condition. Or you could say that, in my professional medical opinion, the condition renders the patient medically unfit to attend proceedings before the commission. You must mention before the proceeding, you must mention attending this, that the person is medically unfit to attend a commission. You cannot say that medical unfit to attend work. They're not going to work. They're attending a commission. You must mention which commission. If it's a court, you must mention which court and which schedule of that date for the court, because the person was honestly disclosed that they were meant to go and testify. So the expected period must also be mentioned, that the person is expected to recover or remain medical unfit from which date to what date, and whether or not the review is required, and when is the review is going to be done by the doctor, the reassessment of the condition, and whether or not is it a short term and long term. This is a proceeding. We're not talking about employment here. It's a proceeding. So they need to decide whether or not they can delay the testimony of this person later date. So these are important to help the commission to put all of that in there. So we still haven't disclosed anyone else's medical condition in this. You see how we haven't said anything about the diagnosis. So this is what it needs to meet. These medical certificates have not met that. Seriously. Oh, one was said, oh, the person told me he's sick. Witness F told me he's sick. Yo? Yo? No, 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 no. Without this information, the document has very little evidential value, which is why someone like Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga might describe such certificate as useless in the context of commission. Useless in the context of commission. And the doctors, if they continue to do this and they found this were courtesy certificate, they would be faced with the misconduct.